Demand for EVs is leveling off, and EVs are piling up at dealerships across the country. It's one of the reasons why Ford is ramping down production of the F-150 Lightning. And what comes as a surprise to many is that Ford is also ramping up the production of the F-150 Hybrid. Here's the thing that not many people know. Hybrids are actually outselling battery electric cars here in the United States. I'm talking some 1.4 million hybrids sold in the U.S. this year. Today we're looking at why hybrids are the future, not BEVs. By the way, a lot of time and research was done to put together this video, and I really want to know what you think. So, while you're watching this, please comment below and share your thoughts. Higher prices of battery EVs, high interest rates, range anxiety, limited charging infrastructure. These are some of the major factors why demand for BEVs has been leveling off. There's also the fact that the earliest adopters of BEVs are finding it difficult to sell their used BEVs to a more hesitant consumer base that's slower to adopt new technology. And the consumers are willing to buy used BEVs seek to pay a much lower price than what BEV owners are expecting. The fact remains that consumers right now prefer hybrid vehicles over battery EVs. If you're wondering why, well, the short answer is that hybrids cost less than BEVs. At the same time, hybrids help you save on gas money compared to traditional combustion engine cars. I'll talk more about how battery EVs are losing popularity in a few minutes. But first, let me tell you about hybrids. It's funny because up until more recently, hybrids largely fell out of favor. Car makers raced to develop fully electric vehicles because those are receiving generous government incentives and praise from forward thinkers. But times have changed and hybrids are making their comeback. Believe it or not, U.S. hybrid sale vehicles have more than doubled since 2020. On top of that, hybrid sales here in the States are headed towards a 35% increase this year. Also, the number of hybrid models for sale in the U.S. market is expected to grow to 369 different models by 2026. That's more than double the 164 that were on sale here in the U.S. in 2020. Right now, hybrids control 9% of the American car market, whereas battery electric vehicles control 8%. It's for all these reasons that this past September, Ford announced plans to double up the production of the F-150 Hybrid in 2024. Ford is also lowering the price by $1,900 to make it almost equal to the gasoline version and almost 10% cheaper than the all-electric version that introduced in 2022. On top of that, Ford plans to quadruple its hybrid sales over the next 5 years and expand hybrid technology across its lineup. Ford CEO Jim Farley himself said that Ford has been surprised at the popularity of hybrid. Here's another factor to think about. You see, heavy loads sap an EV's battery and reduce the driving range. If you're towing a trailer, the F-150 Hybrid is a better option than the Lightning. For example, the F-150 Hybrid combines an electric motor with the 3.5-liter V6 engine and pumps out 430 horsepower. That puts it among the most powerful in the F-150 lineup. The 2023 model averages about 25 mpg, which has a leg over the 21 mpg you see with the conventional gas-powered F-150 with the same V6 engine. Ford has also struggled to keep up with demand for the hybrid version of the compact Maverick. Not many people know this, and even CEO Jim Farley was surprised to learn this, but the Maverick Hybrid accounts for almost 60% of the model sales. In fact, it exceeded even Ford's expectations. Flashback just a few months ago. Toyota was really feeling the heat from environmental groups who were criticizing the automaker for sticking with hybrid technology, which still relies on fossil fuel. Yet, Toyota's hybrid sales also expected to rise 7.5% this year. I'm talking more than 600,000 units. Right now, hybrids make up 1/3 of Toyota's total U.S. sales. Some of its models are only available with hybrid powertrain, like the Sienna minivan and the Sequoia full-size SUV. The Toyota Sienna has a waiting list of at least 8 months, and that's if you're fortunate. Honestly, Toyota would sell even more hybrids as a percentage of its total, especially plug-in models, if it just had more powertrains available. Toyota's U.S. sales chief, Jack Hollis, says if you look at plug-in hybrids, the market is really growing fast. He believes that Toyota can easily double its plug-in hybrid sales. Or look at Honda. Hybrids make about 20% of Honda's total sales here in the state. In fact, the kind of volume Honda is achieving with hybrids is starting to set the tone for its future EVs. Honda attributes recent hybrid success to a new dual motor system. This new system provides a boost to horsepower and fuel economy, unlike Honda's previous generation of single motor hybrids. This upward trend in hybrids isn't isolated to the U.S. alone. It's happening worldwide. So much so that global sales of hybrids are expected to be up 20% this year and grow by 71% over the next 5 years. Asia and North America will supposedly see the most growth, and Europe should see an 11% jump in hybrid sales this year. Along with an uptick in hybrids, we're seeing a downward trend in full battery electric cars. And that's ironic because many car companies up till now have been betting on BEVs and pouring a ton of investments into BEV technology. I'm talking a jaw-dropping $616 billion. But look deeper and you'll start to see a new trend. This past August 2023, it took twice as long to sell a BEV here in the States as it did the previous January. By comparison, gasoline-powered cars are selling more readily. Here's the thing. Some 53% of Americans believe that BEVs are the future and will eventually replace combustion engine cars. But only 31% of car dealers agree. Most dealers don't think BEVs are the future. The simple truth is that right now, we got an oversupply of EVs compared to a leveling demand. The problem isn't lack of consumer interest or hope. The thing is, most consumers can't afford it. Or they have some sort of range anxiety, which is a fear that their EV will run out of juice and leave them stranded. Or they have other EV-related concerns that's holding them back from making a purchase. Consider, too, how the public charging infrastructure across the U.S. is still in its infancy. We're just moving a little too fast, and dealerships are struggling to catch up. Data from last summer showed that there was, on average, a 52-day supply of gas-powered vehicles at dealerships. In other words, hypothetically speaking, if all car makers suddenly stopped making traditional cars, dealership would have enough inventory to last 52 days. By comparison, dealerships had a 57-day supply of traditional pickup trucks. Then take a look at the EV supply. Dealerships have been seeing 90 to 100-day supply of EVs. Consider also large brands like Ford and GM. BEVs accounted for just around 4 and 3% of U.S. total sales. So you can see it's a teeny tiny fraction of their sales. Funny thing is, during the middle of the pandemic, EV enthusiasm was at an all-time high. In 2021, a whopping 86% of American consumers were considering buying an EV. But fast forward 2 years later to 2023, and only 67% of Americans are even considering buying an EV. There's even a shift on the behavior of the average EV buyer. Right now, some 40% of EV shoppers are trading in a vehicle that they already own for a new one. That's about twice the volume we saw a decade ago. The thing is, the average EV that were purchased back then weren't the primary car for a house, but an extra car, which consumers with more money bought with tax credit. Factor in, too, that the second half of 2023, many automakers announced they'll move to the Tesla charging standard, which is known as the North American Charging Standard, or NAICS, pronounced NAC for short. That's one simple announcement, means that EVs currently out on the lot are sitting there with the soon-to-be obsolete charging out. Some are calling it the Great NAICS Migration. Ford was the first to announce the switch. They'll implement this in the F-150 Lightning, Mustang Mach-E, E-Transit, and future EVs. GM is following suit, which is interesting because the GM Ultium architecture uses 800-volt technology to allow ultra-fast charging. But Tesla superchargers currently run on 400-volt technology. So it means when GM cars make the switch, those EVs won't maximize their charging speeds. Many other following suit like lemmings. I'm talking Rivian, Volvo, Mercedes-Benz, Nissan, Honda, Acura, Toyota, and Lexus. Hyundai, Genesis, BMW, Roses, and many said they'll move to NACS in 2025. Earlier, Ford foresaw that its EV division Model E will lose money this year. Turns out they're losing more money this year than originally thought. Ford originally targeted to build 400,000 EVs annually by 2023, but they're now pushing that date out to 2024. In the third quarter of the year, Ford delivered 3,503 of its electric truck, the F-150 Lightning. This was a 46% decrease from the year prior. So it's no surprise this past October, Ford said that they'll slow down production of the Lightning. Don't get me wrong, many EVs across the country saw record high sales the last several months. The problem is, it wasn't as high as car makers expected. Recently, GM said it will delay its electric pickup production at its Orion, Michigan factory. GM cited evolving EV demand as the reason. GM plans to convert its Orion plant for making the Chevy Bolt to the original Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra in late 2025, instead of the original target date of 2024. Ford and GM aren't the only major American automaker to slow down EV production. Believe it or not, so is Tesla. Last October, Tesla said it was cautious about expanding its EV production capacity because of economic uncertainties and slowdown in demand. Elon Musk said he was worried about high borrowing costs preventing potential customers from affording Tesla's vehicles, despite substantial price cuts. One thing's for sure, consumers typically hesitate to buy a new car when there's economic uncertainty. Tesla has been the first and most aggressive EV maker to slash prices. Past August, Model 3 transaction prices were down 20% year over year. The Model S prices were down 17%, and Model Ys were down 16%. And Model X prices were down 13%. After Tesla slashed its prices, other EV makers followed suit. But price isn't the only barrier to EV purchase. If interest rates remain high, it's that much harder for consumers to buy EVs. Basically, they just can't afford it. For this reason, Elon Musk says he'll accelerate expansion of the Tesla's Mexico factory only if interest rates come down. Hard to say when that'll happen, but if current economic projections are true, interest rates may perhaps start to normalize, maybe starting June 2024. Also this past October, Lucid reported an almost 30% third quarter production plunge, with only a marginal increase in deliveries. This was unexpected because of the big discounts Lucid had been off, and despite stronger than expected third quarter numbers, Rivian also disappointed investors this month by not being able to raise its full year production. But now you tell me, which do you prefer, hybrids or battery electric vehicles? Do you agree that hybrids are the future? Please share by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.